Hi, I'm JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm and the home of AfroEconomics. AfroEconomics, I love it. Make sure you take a moment to check out AfroEconomics.com or jdbryan.com. I'd love to make sure that we connect with each other often, hopefully weekly. I do this weekly live stream as an opportunity to talk about financial topics in longer detail than I'm given in other situations. For example, you'll find some interviews on the YouTube channel under jdbryan.com, and we're soon going to set up an afroeconomics.com so that they'll still continue to share. But I do some weekly interviews when I'm given the opportunity on the Virginia This Morning show. My friends over at WTVR Channel 6, I just love them, love them, love them. And so this gives me a longer opportunity to expand on some of the things that I talk about with WTVR or with my friends or with my clients about financial topics like today, your health and your wealth. So make sure that you put in any topics. Those of you who are watching live, I know that when you plan this into your schedule, you said, I really want to know about this. So if there's something that you really know about, let us know, because my friend is right here with me, my girlfriend, and she is helping me. She's like, I'm not your girlfriend, I'm your compliance officer. So she's on staff at JB Bryan Financial Group, and Ms. Brody is here to tell me any of the comments that you make and any questions that you have. This is a live opportunity for feedback, and it helps us follow along, because when you're thinking that, like the teachers used to say, someone else could be thinking that too. So let's think about your health and your wealth. How does your health really impact your pocket? And it's amazing the amount of statistics that's out there, because I was asked by a friend, like, what are you going to talk about? Like, how could you talk about that? You have no idea that it's easy to talk about, like the 3 steps to paying off debt, or how to pick a good investment, or how to adjust your portfolio. What's the proper allocation? But when you're talking about how your health impacts your pocket, wow, that really brings it home for us. And I have a chapter in the AfroEconomics, Our Black Wealth Matters book that's coming out in January. And the chapter is your health and your wealth. And I am just going to give you a brief look into that chapter that I think is essential as one of the principles of how we develop wealth, especially over the long term. There's so many numbers and there's so much information out there about our community and how our health it has had a huge impact on our ability to take care of ourselves and our family. It's saddening. So I didn't even want to go into the percentages of people who've had to retire early and get on disability and live off disability at early ages. We're really going to focus on how we can change things. That's the most important thing that we can do, that we're going to change our mindset. We're going to continue to develop our wealth mindset through thinking about positive things that we can do in our health that will allow us to make money for a longer period of time, and will help us, while we're making money, feel better and enjoy our work. So some key things that are in our health that are impacting our wealth. Number one, what do you think number one is? Number one is actually sleep. We're not sleeping enough. Many people are not sleeping enough. You should be getting 8 to 9, 8 to 10, you're like, that's just going too far. But you should be trying to get at least 8 hours of sleep at night. If you're getting, the research has shown that when you're getting less than 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, that it's affecting your mind, it's affecting our decisions, it's affecting some key financial parts of our life. There's people who have had not enough sleep and have gone into work and got in arguments that they would not have gotten into. So they end up losing their job. They have no income now. So a lack of sleep it leads to impulse anger, as well as impulse buying from a financial perspective, even deeper. That like lack of sleep has been connected to this, and I'm really looking at this from a study that was done at Duke University. They really they have a health institute that really studies, some of our habits. So I'm not just making this stuff up. This is research that has shown that lack of sleep has led to impulse buying, buying overpriced, bad. I tell my daughter convenience foods. That's what I call them. That you eat convenience foods when you're in a rush. You don't eat convenience foods, as a part of your daily diet. And there's people, because of lack of sleep, that are making small and big financial mistakes. So small mistakes, like you're going out, you're buying a purse that you really shouldn't have bought, and and you look at it the next day and you go, why did I do that? And then if you are able to return it, then you're also having to waste the time, taking time. Your time is your money in many situations. So you're taking your time and to go back and return these things and make up for these mistakes. Or there's examples of people who have actually, because of lack of sleep, their mind is not as sound as it could be if they had rested properly, are purchasing items like vehicles and on an impulse, things that are not going to benefit themselves or their family. So we want to make sure that we develop some healthier habits about our sleep, so that we can make healthier financial decisions. So what are some things that we could do? Well, a Harvard University study showed that napping during the day can increase your memory and cognitive function, and that it will allow you to boost your alertness at work. So that could, instead of lack of sleep leading to you losing your job, or or even losing your relationship. There's people who, a relationship loss, can really be expensive. A divorce, whoa, that's expensive. So if you follow, you couldn't get the 4 to 5 hours, but I can take a nap during my lunchtime, or we have 3 or 4 breaks during the day. Or say, for example, you take your naps then, and it can increase your alertness, and then everybody at work doesn't need to know or have to know, or you don't have to keep explaining why they're coming in your office in your sleep. That you take your naps when you can, so that you can make some better decisions and be more alert and prepare yourself to increase your wealth over time, because you're going to keep your job and you're going to be better at everything that you do. And so, and it might be also, this is helpful, this is personal, that I want to go to sleep earlier because I wake up most days at 4 o'clock in the morning because I go exercise. So I started setting an alarm for me to go to sleep. Now, I wake up pretty naturally at 3:30, 4 o'clock. That's cool. I mean, and even if I went to sleep at 12, I'm still going to wake up at that time, unfortunately. So I set an alarm that says bedtime. My daughter jokes on it. But at 9:30 at night, it says, go to bed, bedtime. And that it reminds me that it's time to wind down, like whatever I'm doing. If I could be in the kitchen cleaning up, or, or I could be not in the house. But when I'm not home and I see that, I know that I'm going into a bad zone, that I'm going to feel that later. So I do start winding down, and then, try to be in bed by 10 o'clock. And it makes it a much better workout when I go in the morning, when you get up at 4 o'clock. So let's think about number 2. And I'm only going to talk about 5 things that I think that affect your health, that are in your health, things that are affecting your pocket. And let's just talk about sleep, diet, exercise, stress, depression. And all of these lead to other diseases. And I mean, that in this study that I found, this says that this, we're going to talk about diet. Let's just talk about diet. Number 2, diet. There was an Oxford University study that it seems that eating high-fat restaurant meals can affect your cognitive ability. So you want to be wealthy. We want to continue to be wealthy. We want to be wealthier. that we need to have good, bright cognitive abilities. I mean, could you imagine if I'm talking to you and I'm like, what, where am I? I'm confused. No. So in order to be successful at whatever you do, we need to have good cognitive abilities. And the study is saying that high fat foods, high fat restaurant meals, high fat any meal, so you're going into work and you're picking up, the greasiest biscuit that you can find, that Oxford University studies that says that it's affecting your mind. Researchers found that high-fat diet for several days showed signs of short-term memory loss. Oh, Lord, y'all, this is scary. And lower levels of brain function. Oh, that is so sad. Indeed. So the lower level of brain function when compared to low-fat diet during the same period. So, I mean, we really got to stay away from the bacon, I think. That's what my girl here would say. She has some bacon. So I know she was like, oh, my goodness. I was wondering why she couldn't remember anything this morning. No, but that is amazing. That was over a period of time. She doesn't eat that every day. So there are definitely, what are some things that we could do with increasing, and repairing our diet so that we are protecting our health and our wealth. So a good tip for your nutrition and finances is to do like I do, plan your meals in advance. I got my little handy dandy plastic dish over there from the chicken I cooked at home, and half was Asian organic sweet potato and organic chicken. So it takes a commitment, but it really throws my whole day off when I don't plan in advance for my meals. But I cook my daughter's, I make my daughter this gourmet salad every day for lunch. And I started thinking, like, why don't you do that for yourself? Like, I would make her like the most beautiful lunch in the world and then like forget about myself. So we have to do that. I think that a lot of us probably do that. There's a lot of you at home are like, I make the lunch for the kids, but like lunch, I remember, when I was younger and health wasn't on the top of my mind all the time. And sometimes you have to get to a point of being unhealthy and feeling horrible that forces you to say, like, I need to make a change. And by going through that, I really have noticed, the connection. And then even though, I could say, well, yeah, I made a lot of money when I was not healthy, my quality of my life, is much better. Your quality of your life improves and you feel better and you're enjoying your work more. And most people would actually sacrifice income in order to actually feel better. I mean, feeling good every day is priceless. And I promise you that when you're feeling good, the income will follow, or the income will not, or whatever. You're going to feel good. You won't even care about the income because you're making better choices with your life and you're not in debt. So you really don't need as much. I mean, but God works it out. But we just need to trust that positive life changes will lead to better things. We have to trust and know. Don't just, like, you can't just have faith and then not really feel that these positive changes are going to pay off, because then you'll quit more often. But you have to really start with the end in mind. Every day you have to see yourself somewhere that you're really not. Like, I'm going to start, immediately. And I think that we just spend too much time not making decisions. Like, we spend too much time contemplating decisions. Like, I'm going to go to sleep better, earlier because I know I'm like angry with everybody. And then you still don't do it. You still go to sleep late and you let your phone ring and you feel like you have to pick it up. Like, why do you feel like you have to why can't your health be a priority? So we just have to make that decision. There's I think it's like 3 John. You could probably tell me, but I don't know why this just came to me. But there's a verse in the Bible that it says that allow your health to prosper, as your spirit and your money prospers as well. But that your health is it's 3 John, like 1st chapter, whatever. But just search it in the Bible. That is true. that God believes it also that our health and our wealth are both important. So we talked about how we're going to make the dietary changes, and that this first step is going to be to plan ahead on how we're going to eat, plan ahead on our dietary changes. We're going to make sure that we avoid the empty calories. And it's so true, because if you're realizing that, the empty calories aren't feeding anything to our cognitive skills, they're not helping us be any more creative. It's not helping us create additional sources of income, and they're draining your energy, then we need to make sure that we are taking advantage of not eating, the empty calories, and that we're using our time more effectively. There is the expense. She was asking about the expense of health. She said, is it expensive to eat healthy? That's a question that we have. That's a very good question. And it's actually more expensive to eat out than it is to actually prepare meals. There's some research that I saw that said that it costs about twice as much to feed a family of 4 out for a week than it would be for that family of 4 to actually eat at home. And they average that a family of 4 could eat at home at about $250 a week, and eating out would cost about twice that. And they're like, well, no, because we would go to blah, 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 some cheap place. Then you would have all the fats, and nobody in the family would have any sense, and everybody would get sick, and then you'd miss work because you'd feel horrible. And then, so it would just lead to a downward spiral. So when you eat out, you want to eat somewhere that's decent if you ate out. I remember when I started talking to a nutritionist about nutrition, and she said the first step is to just improve the quality of your food. And when you start improving the quality of your food, like I was saying about my lunch, everything is organic. It will cost me, like, for my little lunch, it will cost me like $30 to go. Or if I eat the same thing, or I couldn't even get the same thing at Whole Foods, and it's just 5 minutes away, because their bar is not even made up of the health food as healthy as mine, because the majority of people won't eat it, so they're not going to put all that around their salad bar. So you'd have to go over to the cold foods. And I like warm foods for my lunch, especially at this time of year. So it's always less expensive to go out there and buy it, cook it, plan it. And just like with finances, right? And that's the key here, knowing that all of the disciplines about your health, and research has shown that when you're disciplined about your health, it transfers over to being disciplined about your finances.
I have a question. Does cheap food make you broke?
Does cheap food make you broke? I believe that cheap food could eventually make you sick, which could make you broke, because you would end up spending all your money on uncovered healthcare expenses. You would end up not being able to generate the maximum amount of income potential that you could have. And there's actually research that shows that most of the people who have poor credit scores also have high levels have a higher risk of cardiovascular disease. I did see that, y'all. I saw that. That is amazing. So if you get cardiovascular disease over a lifetime, that could be very, 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 very expensive. Yeah, it says Duke University study found that low credit scores could be used to predict increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Amazing. Amazing. There was something, it was a study I saw. This wasn't even a study. This was actual research that showed, from an AfroEconomic perspective, it was they did a study in St. Louis about bad credit and people with bad credit scores, and it showed that the same debt, and don't like quote exactly what it is, but you could see, like, you could just Google St. Louis study on blacks with bad credit compared to whites, and it showed that the blacks with the same credit issue were more likely to get sued. So because the blacks were more likely to be poor, so that would lead to blacks having more stress, then that would also lead to Blacks making less income because in many employment, especially high-level employment opportunities, they're checking your credit. Is that amazing? So one is leading to the other. I question, does poverty lead to bad health, or does bad health lead to poverty? I believe that in our community, poverty in most cases leads to bad health, because it becomes even if you go back historically, and when people who didn't make a lot of money were getting social services support, and you would go and pick up food from there before you could just go and get food stamps and things like that. That's like my grandmother, she was Social Security, and they started like sending her cheese. Now, cheese. I know it took me a long time of my life to realize that I was allergic to cheese, but cheese, especially for African American Black community, a whole bunch of us are allergic to dairy products, which leads to, if you have a food allergy and it's being given to you free. Now, I know for a fact she sent me that cheese in college and it led to constipation, which can lead to other health. I mean, not to be so graphic, but it was terrible, you know? And then, but cheese is really bad. Like, what if they were just giving my grandmother, vegetables, something fresh? Like, cheese is like an old food product that, and now I don't eat cheese at all, but that took me a long time to realize why my body was reacting that way. It was because I can't process it. And then I found out, and I didn't find out till I had a daughter who was having allergic reactions. So I believe that poverty can lead to, because if I kept doing that, or whatever, if you're not in a situation to sit down and Google, and I'm doing all this research and talking to nutritionists and all these things and skipping the regular medical system. So even with affordable health care, we're not going to homeopathic people like I was going to. I was spending $200 a visit to find out about health issues. It has been extremely expensive. So when people say that, oh, look at these people, they don't look hungry. Most of the time, overweight people are bloated, extremely bloated, eating foods that they're allergic to, gluten allergies and other health issues. They're eating dairy pie. They're eating anything they get to, like I did, go through college eating ramen noodles and things that these are horrible foods. Those ramen noodles, that get a great big thing of it for $3. I was all celebrating and everything, but you're putting in a pack of oil and fat, and then these very bad white carbohydrates, that, thank God. And then I used to say, wow, I don't know why I don't eat like that, when you get out of school, when you're making money, thank God you don't. No, we need to change these habits. And if it takes, like my mother said, well, if you didn't eat all that healthy food, JB, then, that you could save even more money if you didn't eat all that healthy food. And I said, well, Mom, you either have to eat this healthy food or you're going to have that big medicine bag. It just seems like you're going to have one or the other. And I would rather, make the investment in just feeling good. I feel so much better.
I think you may have answered the question.
Yes.
Marcus says you must be a multimillionaire because you're absolutely beautiful. What is your secret?
Oh, Marcus, that's so sweet. That is so sweet. Oh no, I definitely don't have a secret, but I hope that I did share something, about that, that I do feel it's important that we sleep. I do think it's important that we have a great diet and that we be very particular about what we put into our bodies, knowing that it's going to help us make better choices. And then a third point is exercise. Exercise, very important to our health and our wealth. And as I mentioned earlier, that, my daily habit is to get up at 4 o'clock and go to the gym. I used to have gym and everything right in my home. That didn't work. I need to get out. And if you're the type of person who has the treadmill in your home and it's not working and you're not, then get out. Now you can have the treadmill in the home for your extra time so that after work you use that to wind down and things like that. But that exercise is, extremely important. And I think that I'm glad that I mentioned diet before exercise, because I know that I love exercise all the time, but I really didn't feel my health get a lot better until I changed my diet. So you can actually exercise and it can increase your appetite, and you're still making those very bad food choices, not putting good stuff into you. And I believe that our health starts from our inside spiritually and our inside with our food. And I believe that when we have our mind right, because we're sleeping well, we're going to make better choices. We're going to see things more clearly, and we're going to make better food choices. There's a book that I love called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, I believe. And he talks about that when your mind is right, you will want everything good in your life. You will want everything good in your mouth. It's not going to be hard to say, I know I should not eat that. Well, we can say that now, but if you still do it, then we know our mind is not right. I know that when I'm making bad food choices, it's because my mind is not right. When I don't feel like going to exercise, it's because my mind isn't right.
We have another question.
Yes, we have another question. Yes.
Have community gardens proven to be of value to poor communities?
Have community gardens proven to be of value to poor communities? I think that the research is still out on that, because from what I've seen, the community gardens are benefiting more of the non-Black community that is moving into urban areas. That it's been like a white project that my white friends that live in the city use the community gardens more than the Black people. Don't even have the time, that the Black people that live in the city, are not really understanding why this is significant to me. But I think that the most significant thing that is going on in urban areas is that they have that, what is that called, like urban deserts or food deserts? And there's a movement now to get more grocery stores with green food to shop and liquor stores everywhere. But we just need a good, healthy food store to go to. So I know a couple of years ago, they were saying we're going to do a Whole Foods in downtown Richmond, Virginia, but it's not there yet. But we need stores like that are more convenient for our senior citizens that live in the cities, and that people that don't have cars, and that people are that, because I feel that, the cities have a lot to offer, that and that community gardens are great, but I think that we still need to find out that, are they feasible for the community, or how do they work? Are they just growing it and then so that I don't know enough to give you the most honest answer, but I can only give you like things that I have seen.
Jessica has a great
Jessica has a tip.
She says, one of my grandmother's life's tips about food was always eat at least one thing each meal that doesn't come out of a box.
Jessica said, her grandma said, eat something at every meal that doesn't come out of a box or bag. That's right.
The less trash in your bin, the less trash in your body.
That's right. Everything should be able to go down the garbage disposal. That means you're not going to be eating all that convenience and packaged foods. That's right. Good for this. That's a very good point, Jessica. Thank you. And that is so true. But that's under the diet, making sure that you're eating fresh. And that's going to require preparation. That's going to require planning, just like your financial future. And the exercise is going to help you be more alert. The exercise is going to reduce the fourth deterrent to your financial success when it comes to your health is stress. Stress reduces your productivity. It reduces your job joy. And stress has been connected to increased eating and spending. And the stress, it says 57% of those that reported that they disengaged from work when they were in stress or under stress. The stressed out crowd said that they missed more work than their peers missed because they were stressed out. And that, there's just a certain amount of stress. I saw a study one time associated with being Black, so I saw a study, were talking about prostate cancer, and they were saying that their Chinese medicine had studied the cultural stress of Black men was connected to their high number of prostate cancer within the Black community. And I think that you, just like I have AfroEconomics, I think that we're way off course. We need to have like Afro health. You know, maybe I'll create that because they need to, like, don't take that from me. No, but we need to have more studies on, you know, Black health and how discrimination, how financial challenges, financial problems, and how, you know, programs like AfroEconomics can actually reduce our health problems by helping us with our financial goals and our financial planning. So let's make sure that we stay connected and that we grow together. I really want us to do that, that you need to know that you are not in this alone, that as a Black entrepreneur, I have had to live with a lot of stress, and I've had to learn to sleep, learn to be careful with my diet, learn to exercise each day or most days, learn to reduce my stress by being active. I used to reduce my stress by trying to find some food or some sugar or some jelly beans or some candy corn, something like that. But we know we need to reduce our stress through being active, write a chapter in my book, have a conversation with a positive friend, talk to the love of my life, but to actually do things about the stress that you're feeling.
Andrew also made a comment that organic foods work better.
Good for you. Well, I hope so.
Foods.
That's right. Or Andrew said, my friend in California, that that organic foods work better and they help you process and probably digest and everything, and your body can use it. You're supposed to be, we're buying organic foods because we want the nutrients to actually get into our body. No, so I guess you're looking at processed foods and it's telling you all the things that they put into it. But we want to really eat, organic and plant foods and real foods in their natural form, so that when you eat that chicken, when you eat that beef, you're actually getting the iron. It's not iron that had to be injected into it. And then when you eat those vegetables, you're not just eating the pesticides on top. And granted, all the conversations I hear people all the time saying, well, you just don't, I don't trust that organic stuff. Well, I trust that organic stuff. I'd rather err on the side of caution, like at least I'm trying. Until I plant it myself in my community garden, then I'm going to go with that. Because I know my grandmother looked real good for a long time from growing her own food. And so the depression, a final one, depression, a big issue for us. And that depression definitely, affects your finances, that it has a serious effect. It says that in individuals over 50 with debt and over 50 have been found to have 8 times more likely to report feeling depressed. Now, this is just individuals. I'm sure if I was just looking at, and this was a research study done by University of Bristol, and this was in the UK, but it says 8 times more likely to report feeling depressed than those who live comfortably. So if we were doing that just on Black folk over 50, when we look at the numbers, and we have a high level of Black folk that are retired and living below poverty level, imagine the amount of stress that they have. So what we're going to do to reduce depression is reduce debts. I must admit, when I used to have a lot of debt, when I can't imagine being old with a lot of debt. That was something that I did when I was younger. I think that's something that you do when you're young and get that out of your system. Because I know, maybe you got that from my parents, but I know when my father was younger, the whole Cadillac thing was important to him. But when he got older, he was like, hey, I'm the man and I don't need a car to prove it. I sort of enjoy my life. And but he worked hard all his life. It is really hard when you're going into your senior years and you're worried about debts, especially debts that you did not create. My parents did a phenomenal job of making sure that their kids got educated, but they were like, but you're paying for it. I'm not paying for it. And we need to accept the fact that if you can't pay for it, then prepare for your kids to pay for it. Don't take things that you want for your kids on as a responsibility for yourself unless the child is young. Now, while they're young, of course, that's when you do it. Do it now, but don't try to make up for what you didn't do when they were young when you're older, because you can never catch up. That's a compounding return. You just can't. The best thing you can do when you're grown is not be a burden to the kid. Keep the kid healthy, keep the, as an adult, encourage the child, support the child. But if you can't afford to do it, say no, because they're going to have to take care of you. So say, baby, my best thing is I'm going to pay my bills so you don't have to. You always have a place to stay and live. But as far as me paying your bills and my bills, if you can't afford it, tell them you can't afford it. Because then you build a child into an adult. You don't want to make someone that's broke down. As the Bible says, teach a man to fish. No, I don't even know if this is biblical. Is it biblical? Teach a man to fish. He eat for life, but if you give him a fish, he eat for a day. Okay. But just like but definitely you want to make sure that you're teaching them. You want to teach each other, and that's what I hope that this session did. I kind of went over today, but your health and your wealth is very important. It's very important because there's no reason to have any money if you can't enjoy it. So make sure that you keep yourself healthy and feeling good, especially mentally, because your true health is coming from the inside out. You're going to make the right choices. I'm JB Bryan of JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm and the home of AfroEconomics. I'm going to try to keep talking on YouTube afterwards, but generally as soon as I hit stop broadcast, they kick me off. So you can always email me at jb@jbbryan.com or AfroEconomics@jbbryan.com if you want to just get on our email list. And guess what? We do have a phone app. So you can be walking down the street looking at me right now on your phone app. It'll go right through. So go into your smart store or your smartphone and then look up AfroEconomics and you can download the app there. But I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have Ms. Brody helping me. I'm blessed to have you here watching me. I'm just blessed. Thank you for being on my team and being my friend and watching today. God bless you all. Look forward to next week. We're going to have a lot more every week. Every week I'll be here. And next week, I think I'm going to expand on debt, credit, and how much it's costing you. Subscribe to the channel so you can know for sure. Have a great day.